So supposedly Trump's campaign manager got fired. But then he got hired by CNN like 5 minutes later. That's an old trick. Okay, he didn't get fired, he got promoted. And what it indicates is that CNN wants to, at the very least, be prepared for the situation that it needs to take a pro-Trump position. There's no doubt people lobbying. There's no doubt people looking at, what is the more, what is better for ratings, right? Because companies like CNN and, Fox is different, right? But CNN, MSNBC, media companies that are run by corporations don't really have any political perspective, right? From their perspective, Trump, Clinton, they're the same, right? It's not really going to make any difference one way or the other. They're probably both going to cut their taxes. They'll both play ball, etc., right? For them, what they're concerned about is what are the, how can they maximize ratings? What is the better story? What's going to make them more money, right? If it was something like Sanders was the exception because he was, outside of the allowed discourse, right? But Clinton is within the allowed discourse. Trump is within the allowed discourse. The allowed discourse can get very racist. Look at the stuff you see on TV; it's off the wall, right? So there's no media or state prohibition against racism, right? We live in a racist society. Let's remember that. System of hierarchical, systemic racism. The media is not outside of that. It's a big part of that, right? So there's this whole the media will never get behind Trump because he's racist. The media is racist. So what the media does is it promotes race divisions. If the media wasn't so racist, the society would probably be less racist. The whole point is that you push racism down through the media. So Trump is not only not, the fact that Trump says racist things does not only not disqualify him from media coverage, it makes him more qualified for media coverage. So that's what they're looking at, right? They're looking at, what's going to make us the most money. Okay. That said, it's not going to happen tomorrow. Okay. I've been telling you that, you should get ready for this. I didn't say it would happen, right away kind of thing. And it's not going to happen right away now. Okay. This is preparation. This is the beginning of a shift. You saw some of the same things that msnbc is also moving to the right. They're quieting down some of their left-wing commentators. Their morning host right now is a former Republican congressperson. He's very right-wing. If you listen to him, he's an extreme. He's a right-wing extremist. So you've got right-wing extremists all over MSNBC. CNN is picking up right-wing extremists. What's happening is not that the media is pushing down on Trump. What's happening is that the media is reacting. They're saying, look at the responses that Trump is getting. Look at the big crowds that he generates. We're going to modify our message to try to tap into that market because we can make money by selling things to Trump supporters. Again, there's no ideological basis there. Okay? The media in the United States has no ideological preferences except Fox and some of the independent media, right? Most of the mainstream media in the United States doesn't care about anything except money. Which is, there's certain, that's why Sanders was taboo, right? Because he would threaten the bottom line in many ways, right? The biggest reason that they would go after Sanders is probably healthcare, right? Because they don't like the idea of having to wait in line for a bum to get healthcare, that kind of thing, right? That threatens their bottom line, right? That's a financial thing that threatens the wealthy, and the way of life that the wealthy have, right? Which is how America works. But he was an exception, right? We saw where Sanders is on the political spectrum compared to where everybody else in American politics for the last 50 years has been. He's not even in the same quadrant, right? The only person in the last, 10, 15 years you could compare to him was Dennis Kucinich. And nobody took Dennis Kucinich seriously. He was closer to Ralph Nader than Barack Obama. Right? So Sanders was really very much an exception. Okay, and what we saw here was very much threatening because it was such an exception. But normal circumstances, right, where you have interchangeable candidates, Gore, Bush, what's the difference? Romney, Obama, what's the difference? Obama, Clinton, what's the difference? Trump, Clinton, what's the difference? From a media perspective, there isn't one, except, a calculation on who's going to maximize their profits, who's going to have the highest readership, right? You can say what you want about Clinton, but she's fucking boring, okay? Nobody denies that. Even her staunchest supporters will agree that she's totally fucking boring, right? And even people that hate Trump will agree that they're going to watch him and they're going to grit their teeth and they're going to throw things at the TV, but they're going to watch it, right? And that's what they want. Of course, that's not the way they're going to present it, right? Well, they'll present it in a different way because they want to tap into your conservative instincts, right? They want to convince you that he is the careful choice. And so the dynamics that are setting themselves up are not favorable to Trump. Are not favorable to Clinton regarding the media coverage. And we're seeing this start to turn over. Okay? Like I say, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but wait it out. And there are some, history is not predetermined. There's things that can happen that can get in the way and have people switch back, right? But this is the way I see it, okay? Until he formally drops out, Sanders is still a threat, or it may be considered more tactical to wait until after the convention. So they're not going to go after Clinton yet, right? If Clinton gets indicted tomorrow, then something's going to have to happen, right? Which is why she's not going to get indicted tomorrow. But she will probably get indicted after the convention. Okay, so once Sanders is gone, once that threat is eliminated, then Clinton has fulfilled her purpose and they can go after her. Then they can get rid of her. Okay, so the way this election is going to work is that the media is going to rip Clinton apart over the emails, which is why we have the email scandal, right? There really isn't an email scandal. The email scandal was something that was created by the media to take Clinton down with. And then while they're doing that, they're going to present Trump as the sane establishment option, right? Trump will keep us safe from the terrorists, whereas Clinton can't even figure out what's classified and what isn't. She's a national security threat. Now, like I say, there are certain conditions here, right? Trump has to shut the fuck up. He has to stop saying stupid things. And they have to figure out a way to get him to stop saying stupid things. But I think they can figure that out, If they can get Bush elected, and they did, twice, then they can get Trump elected. Now, you're going to look at the media coverage and say they're all over Clinton. Okay. But what I'm pointing out is that that's changing, right? Is that they're bringing in people that are, aligned with Trump, that are on the right of the spectrum. They're trying to push a turnover on the right in the media. And like I say, it's not just happening at CNN, it's happening at MSNBC too, right? And I don't even know about the other networks, right? They don't really have strong internet presences. When you see the Washington Post, and then you'll know Bezos has completely destroyed the Washington Post, any semblance of anything. When you see the New York Times go after Clinton, then you'll know that the whole thing is turned over, right? But like I say, remember, that the media coverage at this time in 2000 was not dissimilar to what it is today. It's really early. We haven't even had the conventions yet. Okay? You should not be drawing conclusions about who the media is going to support. You should be looking at what the media is doing to determine how it's going to align itself. And these machinations are still at work. As I've stated many times, the deep establishment hates Hillary Clinton. That hate is not mutual, okay? We on the left, we look at the situation and we see her fawn all over them. We see her do everything she can to try to, put a foot in the door, try to get herself on the table, okay? But that's what she's been doing since she was the First Lady. She's been barging into the meetings, showing up uninvited. Trying to exaggerate her influence because she wants a seat at the table. And when she was First Lady, they gave her, what are they going to do? Kick the First Lady out? But what they're going to do is they're going to call Bill and say, what the hell is she doing here, right? And he's going to say, I don't tell her what to do. And so she gets a seat at the table, right? And it's just, things have changed, obviously. She got some positions, right? She won a Senate seat. She was Secretary of State. These things, right? But it's the same basic dynamic, is that she's trying to push herself into a system that doesn't want her in it. And that is, trying to find a way to avoid it. And she's been very good at, these kinds of chokehold tactics to try to get in, right? It's taken her a long time. But she's trying to orchestrate a hostile takeover of the corporatocracy, whatever that means, right? It's less a case of the corporate system saying, this is our person, this is who we want, we're going to put her in power and she's going to do what we say. And it's more a situation where it's like she's trying to push her way in and she's trying to be the corporate spokesperson and she's trying to prove that she'll do what they want so that they put her in that place. And the left doesn't get it, right? They see it from the perspective, they see the surface and they're not able to see what's going on underneath it, right? And what's happened is that, initially it was, she's too liberal, we can't, we don't trust her because she's too liberal. And then as time has come on, it's, wait a second, she has no principles at all. We thought she was too liberal, but now we don't trust her because, we don't, she'll do anything for $1. Money talks and everything, right? But some level of, guidance is required to get into the club, right? You have to have certain perspectives, certain ideological perspectives, and she doesn't even have those. That's just nothing. She's just total blank slate. She's a tabula rasa for donations. And that's worse than being too liberal. Because it means that you don't control her. It means that she's always up for the highest bidder. You put her in a position of power, and then, some sheik in Saudi Arabia shows up and says, I'll give you twice as much. And then she's working against the people that put her in place because she's getting a higher check from someone else, right? That's what you're dealing with. And that, like I say, it used to be she's too liberal, we don't trust her because she's too liberal. Now it's we don't trust her because she has no principles. You know who a good example of that is? It's Yulia Tymoshenko in the Ukraine. She managed to become prime minister of the Ukraine for a short amount of time. Okay, but she played both sides of the fence, right? She worked for the Russians, she worked for the Americans, and at the end of the day, she ended up in jail because neither side trusted her. She played both sides, and when you play both sides, you get burned. Now, obviously Trump is not anybody's first choice, right? But the hate for Clinton is so deep that if they can find a way to do this, they will. Okay? But he has to shut the fuck up. Or at least tone it down, you know. The outlandish statements are good, you know, good for ratings. They draw attention to himself. It's just, you know, just kind of there's a level there. Okay, so if you think there's this, you know, conspiracy, deep state, you know, no. If anything, the deep state is trying to get rid of her, and has been trying to get rid of her forever. She's got the Democratic Party on her side. Or at least it seems that way. Or at least they certainly were quick to line up behind her when her opponent was Bernie Sanders. Somebody a little bit more moderate and, or moderate, right? And the outcome would have been different, I think. Anyways, when's this going to turn over? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But it's not hard to see what's happening. And you can ignore it. Certainly if you're on the left, it might be easy to confuse yourself because you spent so long seeing Clinton as this, you know, spokesperson for the bankers. But she's always been a self-appointed spokesperson. She's not the person they actually want. Right? Again, Trump isn't either. But Trump may have more principles than her. And that's a sad truth that it is probably essentially what's being currently worked out in the boardrooms in the back. Right? It's what they want. It's what they're trying to do. But like I say, he has to find a way to stop saying things that are particularly stupid, right? Like the racism against Mexicans, that's fine, that sells, right? But the way he did it with the judge was just, it was like, I had to talk about this, and the problem with what he said was not that it was racist, it was that it was stupid, right? Because look at the court case. Racism sells. Racism gets votes. It's America. America is racist. What is America without racism? You might as well take away its apple pie. Okay? It's that what he's saying is so often so incredibly stupid. And you know, once he's elected, it's fine. You know, it's just they gotta get a muzzle on him for a few months. And like if they can do it for Bush, they can do it for Trump. Okay, so I'm saying get ready for this. The networks are preparing themselves for it. It's not, you know, some accidentally bad choice or something. Like when they hired this guy, they hired him because they're trying to present their messaging a certain way that is more favorable to that candidate. Like I said, once the convention happens, once Clinton is officially the Democratic nominee, you're going to start, I think, seeing these stories start getting pumped out, and you're going to see the media go after her. And it's because she's boring. Okay, they've got deep state, approval for their reasons. They hate her, right? But media, bottom line with the media, is that they're going to see, if Hillary Clinton wins the presidency, you're going to see terrible ratings for 8 years because she's boring as hell. And they don't want that. See, as just to follow up on that, there's a story here in Gawker. Are the staffers staging a revolt over Corey Lewandowski? Like, as though it was some sort of accident, right? As though CNN didn't realize what it was doing. Right? We accidentally hired Trump's campaign manager. We didn't realize that it might affect the coverage or upset people. In fact, I might even suspect that CNN is pushing those. Right? The way I read the article is this. CNN looking for excuse to get rid of left-leaning staff. You can do this a few ways. One, you can send an agent provocateur to start a movement for mass resignation. That way you don't have to fire anybody. It's good optics, right? Get everybody to resign. Gets rid of all these leftists that the network is trying to get rid of anyways, right? Because they don't want them there, right? All these people that are signing, the network is trying to get rid of them because they're trying to rebrand themselves as a more right-wing option. Because they see that there's a movement to the right. Look at Brexit. Look at the big crowds that Trump is pulling out. That's the way CNN looks at it. Is they need to maximize viewership, so they do things that they think are popular. And who's got the crowds out? Clinton can't fill a gym because she's boring. And on top of that, there's no severance too, right? So you don't have to pay them out. They just walk out. Or you can start a fight, then come down on the side of Lewandowski to make the point that this is what we're doing, and if you don't like it, get the fuck out of here. Okay? And it's not just CNN, and msnbc is doing this too. Okay? Sanders has had no effect. But Trump's popularity amongst key English-speaking TV demographics, like white men, is sparking a shakeup in the way the networks are going to be approaching the coverage. CNN doesn't gear its coverage towards Mexican immigrants. It gears its coverage towards white, middle-class men. And if it wants to be relevant in its demographics, it needs to present a message that appeals to its demographics. And what we've learned over the last couple of months is that its key demographic base that it makes money from is more likely to support Trump. So therefore the coverage will have to shift to that. Again, this is not about a message. These companies don't have ideological preferences. They don't sit in a specific point on the spectrum for the point of that. They exist to make money. They're corporations. The purpose is to maximize profit, and this is how they're going to do it. Okay? So all these people are going to walk out? Great. CNN would love that. Let's have a party.